Cruz here, your life applications officer. I think I get it. As to why people are afraid of becoming under the power and influence of something different than what they commonly understand as the standard. Now, I think there's a lot of things in this world. For example, abortion, homosexuality, feminism, and a lot of these other liberal platforms. I think most of us have come to the place where we understand that I hope my fans aren't too loud for you, but it's hot in here and I can't put my air conditioner in the window yet because I don't have the kit for it, but hopefully the fans ain't too loud for you. But everybody's afraid, and I think the atheists are afraid of Christianity not because they can prove that there is no God, or not because they even believe that I need to prove more than the scriptures that there is no God. But I think what it is with them is they are afraid of being under the power and influence of something that is not the standard, but I'm trying to think of another way to explain it. Not easy for them to just pick it up and accept it, and I understand that. Let me tell you something. You're going to be under the control, and you are, is right now as we speak, you are under the control of someone else. If you're not under the control of anybody else, walk out into the public street and pull out your gun and just shoot it up in the air and see if don't nobody call the police. If you don't think you're under the control of anyone, walk into the supermarket butt naked. Here's a better one. You don't think you're under anyone's control, get in your car and go 100 on the highway. And do it until someone decides to pull you over. Because someone's going to pull you over. Just a matter of time before they do. You know what I'm talking about. If you don't think that someone's in control of you, go to your local school, your local public school where your kids go to school, and say, hey, I don't agree with what you're teaching them. This is what you shall teach them. And see if they teach what you want them to teach your kids. Now, they're going to teach your kids what they are legalized and indoctrinated to teach your kids. Everybody is under the control of some kind of elite, some kind of higher social governmental standard. Everybody is under the control. Now, in the Bible, when the Christians lost control, and how did they lose control? they lost control in the Old Testament because they disobeyed God and God allowed things to happen to them. One was them being taken captive by another nation. This other nation, a lot of times, not only took them as captive as slaves, but it also took them as captives and made them do whatever kind of work that they wanted them to do. And a lot of times this meant also taking their wives for themselves. Just like Abraham needed to go because of the famine, he needed to go down to Egypt, I believe it was, to feed his family, Abraham. And the Pharaoh, I believe it was, almost took his wife. And the only reason why Pharaoh didn't take his wife was because Abraham prayed to God. And God used what Pharaoh thought was his religion. He spoke to Pharaoh in a dream. Pharaoh was probably thinking that it was his religion that God was speaking to him from. And this goes on a lot even today. Okay? Just ask some of these Muslims that converted to Christ. Okay? And God spoke to Pharaoh. He got Pharaoh's attention through a voice that Pharaoh would listen to. And Pharaoh got mad at Abraham. He said, I almost slept with your wife. I almost took your wife. But he thought that not only would they take his wife, but they would kill him because of his wife. Because why? They're the authority. They're the power. And if you don't think we have that same kind of Babylonian, ancient Egyptian power going on today in America, you're dumb. Because we do. We have the same power, the same manipulation and humiliation going on in America today, where everybody is a sucker for money. And you think you got a happy marriage until you started making money. Once you started making money, your wife didn't allow you to make less. Once you started making the big bucks, your wife left you because you started going back to what you was. A simple old average guy that had the potential to make money but didn't have any because it wasn't appropriate at that time. It happens every day in various people's lives where they think they're making all this money and they're getting up there and then they lose because they felt more that their marriage was a blessing from God and not just something that came out of their money. And women are into this more than men. Women will sit there and love a man until that man begins to make money. And then she'll hate him if he starts to tamper with her luxurious lifestyle. She'll hate him for it and divorce him for it and marry somebody or even commit adultery first with somebody that's making the bucks, that's able to make her rich. Okay? And it goes on today. The pharaohs, the Babylonians, the kings, the pagan kings are still in charge. Right here in America. They're still in charge. And here you are afraid to give in to Christian philosophy or theology because you're afraid that it's indoctrinating you and taking authority over you to pull you into something that you're uncomfortable with. I got news for you. Again, always has been that way. and always will be that way. There are people today that have their money and they have their lifestyle, and they're afraid that tomorrow their dollar will not be the value of a dollar. The value of a dollar will go down to a penny. That means that they're not nearly as rich, or not even worthy to be called rich anymore. You can't go in the store today. I remember when I could, back in the early 80s, you could go buy penny candy at the store. You can't do that today. You go in a store and you say, I only got 5 pennies. They're going to look at you and say, matter of fact, now, don't get me wrong, in some of these old ancient little neighborhoods, they still got them little stores where, these men will reach out to the kids and he'll invest his own money for the sake of the children of the neighborhood, invest his own money so that he can sell penny candy to the kids and a cookie for a nickel or whatever. He'll invest himself into that so that he has liberty to do that, but it's costing him. Ask him what it cost him. But the manufacturer does not provide these things anymore. Okay? You go to school today. Your kids will be taught things that you don't agree with. And it ain't just Christians that are upset. How many atheists don't want you trying to make his kid how many atheists don't want the school board tampering with his child's sexuality? Come on. Are you that much a hell full of demons? How many atheists do not want the government or the public messing with their child's sexuality? If my child wants to be gay, that's his or her decision, not yours. If my child wants to be transgender, that's his or her decision, not yours. If my child wants to be straight, that's a good thing. That's his right, his decision. It's not yours. But you're afraid. You don't want to follow Jesus because you're afraid Jesus is what? Is what? What's Jesus doing? And then here's the other thing. Again, before I say this, has always been and always will be control over you. Some kind of control over you. You think you can just walk out of your house and leave the door unlocked? No, you cannot in 2019. You think you can just walk out of your house and get in your car and drive any old way you want to? You think you can just walk out of your house, go to work, and do your daily duties any way you want to? No, there's a dude called the supervisor or the boss or the CEO or the superintendent or the foreman that'll walk right up on in there and change everything you had planned to do today. Oh, you went in there whistling. It's going to be a beautiful day, baby. And all of a sudden, bam. Hey, Scott, step over here for a second. And your whole day has been changed. You got to call your wife and tell her, hey, sweetheart, don't wait up. I'm going to be late for dinner. Something came up here at work. Got to get this out of the way. Wife gets mad at you. Now, this CEO or this superintendent or just your simple supervisor, whatever he is, He can go home to his wife and they having a good time. Hey, he's calling her on the phone. Hey, baby, keep it hot and bothered, baby. I'm coming, baby. Get out the red wine, baby. Get out the tequila. I'm coming, baby. I'm ready. She hopping in the shower, putting on lingerie. She know he ain't gonna be late. Meanwhile, your wife mad at you. She holding a grudge for 3-4 days over that mess. You're not in control, atheists. You're not in control, LGBTQ community. You're not in control. You're just tolerated. You're just a token of somebody's control. You're not in control. But you are a token of somebody else's control. You are a product of somebody else's control. Atheists love to pick on slavery and they like to use that against Christians. Atheists, when did we ever stop being slaves? When did you ever stop being a slave? Oh, you're not a slave because you can be as gay as you want to be. You're not a slave because you can be as atheist as you want to be. You're not a slave because you can fornicate and drink and smoke and get high and do whatever you want to do within the limits of the nightlife. But you can't do it in broad daylight. And you can't do it at work. And not only that, but all it takes is a letter in the mail. Somebody knows where you live. You ain't never seen this person. You ain't never seen these people. They know where you live. They can send you a letter that'll squash your whole program. Just when I think I got money, somebody sends me a letter in the mail. I looked at one of my bills today. I said, did I not just pay the balance in full? What do you mean? What is this? Got it right here. I just paid the balance in full. According to that, I still owe a balance before the end of this week. And I'm not even getting paid yet. I owe more money. When it told me clearly when I just paid it, that in order for your balance to be caught up to date, you must pay this amount. So I'm broke so that I could keep my current bill up to date. And then they send me this. Now, whether they jiving me or whether I just can't afford them, I can't afford these bills, whatever way it is, somebody that is in charge of the bills that I pay, they accept money from me for my bills. I don't own my own light company or my own ability to put lights in my house. I don't own my own water. I don't own my own anything in here. Turn out the lights and I might as well just pack up and leave. And it's going to have to be broad daylight for me to do that because there ain't no light. I'm going to have to open the curtains to do that. But, we don't want to be indoctrinated. We don't want to be taught fallacies. We don't want to be taught bigotry. But yet, you've always been a slave. You always will be a slave. As long as you live on this planet, somebody has to be in charge. And even your sex life, your sexuality, your life that you fought politics over, all the legislature that has been done for you because you protested, you voted, and you won, the next person can come in office and just blow that right out of the water. Just like a lot of these Muslims that thought they was going to come in here with some crap. Donald Trump squashed that. Just like a lot of these immigrants, not just the Muslims, but a lot of immigrants. A lot of things that was going to go on just like they've always went on. And Donald Trump says, not this segment, not this time, not while I'm in office. And I'm saying that not to glorify Donald Trump. That's another video. I'm saying this because whoever is in office can turn everything around. Just when you thought you had all this buku money, half of that now goes to taxes. So now you got to change your plans that you had for the year 2019 or the year 2020, whichever one. Because now, whether for a good reason or a dumb reason, your money, half your annual is going to taxes. And we live in a world today where we are given to, while we try to make respirations and claim to be caring about others, we claim to look out for the refugees and immigrants. But what about the people that are already here? See, to me, and this is another video too, to me, America is black and white. It's not green, red, pink, brown, and yellow. It's black and white. To me, America is about black people and white people. We're the natives here. White people because I'm assuming the founding fathers that found this nation were white, or European or Caucasian, whichever you want to call it. And second of all, the blacks are the only ones that spend that much time in the slave trade, which the slave trade built this nation. They done 99% of the labor that has made this country flourish up to this point, or up to the end of the civil rights movement. So that's why black people feel that they are part of that slogan that says America first. I believe America should take care of my black behind before it takes care of these immigrants. I come first because I've been here. They all speak language. They all speak English as a second language, which they cannot speak very well. And they don't care. They don't think that they have to. You get somebody that leaves here and goes to Mexico, or someone that leaves here and goes to China. They speak Chinese very, very fluently. They speak Mexican. They speak Spanish very fluently. They don't come over here and don't want to communicate. They don't go over there and don't want to communicate with Chinese people or communicate with Mexican people because they don't like the way they sound when they speak it. Or they just don't like your behind. They don't like your Mexican behind, so they don't want to speak to you in your own nation. We got a lot of people like that today. They come over here, they're multiplying like roaches. But yet they really don't want our American butts bothering them. They want to be left alone. They don't want to socialize with black people first. A lot of them don't want to socialize with white people either. I've been living up here among immigrants for probably since November of last year. and only one immigrant, and one of the reasons is because me and him work together, has ever shaken my hand and one helped me pull my groceries up on my porch one day because I was dumb enough to load them up like that and got stuck on the steps. But you know, there's some nice people up here. But I don't have that flag in the window because I'm a Trump supporter. I got that flag in the window because I'm an American. I'd have that flag in the window if I was a Democrat. Okay? And I also want to remind the people that live up here, because we're outnumbered by immigrants, and me and a white old lady that's been living up here for a long time. We're talking about that today as we were doing our Memorial Day travels. Okay? She's been living here a long time. She's an old lady who's been living here a long time. Not only here, but other places in America too. I got that flag in the window to remind people what soil they're standing on. We appreciate the privilege of being Americans in this town right here. And if you go probably about 2 miles around the corner, you will see flags all over the place because I don't know if they don't like immigrants over there or what, but there's sections of this town right here that you won't see an immigrant for about a mile in sight. I mean, there's nothing around there. All you see is the flag in front of everybody's house. And this here is G-Mix. Don't tell me that I don't appreciate Mexicans. Say hello to your señorita loco. Al dente. That stuff is good. That's another thing that pisses me off, because we have so many Mexicans around. They think that when something is imported over here from Mexico, it's for them. No, my friend, it's for Americans. I just hate, and that's the thing. That's one more thing before I continue with what the video is all about. That's another thing that they do. Like, they only want to eat at their restaurants that their people are serving food. And I can go into a restaurant and people will just throw everything in a box for me and sell it to me. Where somebody else that's like of their race can walk in that same restaurant and he knows what to buy and what not to buy, and how to separate everything to make it more, eatable, Just like Chinese, for example. They'll take a to-go dish and just make everything into a soup and just throw it in there, sell it to you, okay? Whereas when they eat the same food, not only does it look different and taste better, but they separate it. They don't even eat it all together like that. They have rice over here in this dish, noodles over here, broccoli over here, and meat over here. You never see any Chinese people eat the same Chinese food that you eat. You never see that. Same thing with Indian food. They give you something to go, they just throw it in a box. My point is, you are not in control of your life. The powers that sell, the powers that preach, the powers that make decisions for this country, those that are doing trade and investing and selling and educating, not even them really, but those that are paying the educators and those that are buying, those that are connecting with those overseas. They are the power in this country. You are not. And some of these that I just mentioned are only an influence. And until they influence the higher powers, they themselves are not a power. They are just an influence. But you don't want to give yourself or your life to Jesus. But yet, you always will and you always were a slave to the country that you live in. And it doesn't get better anywhere else. That's why they're all coming over here. Okay? Even Muslims don't want to be a Muslim in a Muslim nation. They want to be a Muslim in a liberal nation so they can be a Muslim without all the politics and all the other things connected to it. And I understand that. And I respect that. But I believe America is black and white. Now, here in closing, anybody can lose control. If we keep bringing all these immigrants into this nation, now we didn't already had a black president, okay? If he had been a Republican, I would have been proud of him and I would have been bragging about him. But I will always be a Republican until the Republican Party switches. But we already had a black president. Now Europe, is it Europe, I think, that has a Muslim president now? And Canada has a Muslim president. While they have all these problems with Muslims, or should I say Arab culture that wants to dominate their culture, however you want to put it. They're not Europeans, and they're not Americans, okay? But anybody can walk into your country and take control. Just like I'm pretty sure within the next 50 years or less. Now, to me, white people have the hub right now. And I'm proud of white people having the hub because that respects me as an African American, if that's what you want to call me. Or an Israelite, as some of these guys insist on saying, okay? But I believe America is black and white, and I believe white people have the hub, and they earn the right to have the hub, to hold the con. They earn the right to be in the driver's seat, is what I'm saying. Now, a lot of black people would like to shoot me in the head for this, but I believe white people have earned the right. Even after slavery, they earned the right to be the leadership of this country. And black people have never done anything that helped black people without the help of white people. There are no black heroes that done it all by themselves. Everybody, every country in this country that's been through something to get here, for whatever reason they got here, had the help of white folks. Sure, you know, we can look at the Native Americans, we can look at the blacks, and we can look at the Hawaiians. We can look at the Spanish people. We can look at Puerto Rico. And crucify these white people. But on the flip of that, on the flip of the same coin, we have to give respect to where respect is due. Because the same people that persecuted us also healed us and gave us a chance for freedom. Also fought for our freedom. Those was white folks too. Okay? I think. I think. I think. I hope so. Okay? But in the end, God is going to win, no matter what. How do you think the world is going to end? Now that I've said all that, how do you think the world is going to end? Do you think the aliens are going to come down and take over? Do you think that they're, you know what I'm saying? What would happen if the fear of Christians and Republicans were to be true? That multiculturalism took over and Muslims, unless you're that dumb, Islam took over the United States, and they were finally able to make the United States a Islamic country. Then how do you think the world is going to end? And you cannot, the atheists cannot take over without making new laws and commands that hold people in some kind of bondage, some kind of slavery, so that they don't have the choice, the freedom to practice what you felt a long time ago was destroying us. So see, there you go. And then you're going to have some Christian, some Muslim, some Mormon, some Jehovah's Witness, somebody telling a story one day when your plan didn't work. They'll be telling their story of how the atheists got together and they were atheists, and then they were something else, and then they took over. They started persecuting all these religions and Christians and stuff, and so we're not allowed to do all these things. And now you got people coming out of nowhere, just like atheists. You got these young atheists that barely been born here long enough to hear what their parents got to say. So they can't be professional atheists, if there is a such thing in the first place. So what are they going to say? Oh, they want to explain to everybody how they've been entrapped and in bondage to others, namely Christians. And they're fighting to get ahead. Well, you know what? If you ever become in charge, there will be all these religions and all these other groups fighting for the same thing. Because you can't be in charge without making people adjust to your charge. And more of that in the next video. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon with more.